Hi there and welcome along to day 2 of the 30 days of 30-minute rows. Now, as you can see, I've tried to come up with some kind of a solution to give you graphics on screen while I continue to record these as live in order to get them out as quick as possible. Please let me know whether that's good enough and I'll try and change it if it's not. Anyway, so today's 30 minutes, we're just going to do this as 18 strokes per minute and at 2K plus 20 to 22 pace. So it's a very simple, really backed off, regenerative row, which gives you a chance to work on your technique, chance to work on your core fitness, and just to kind of recover after what was a relatively tough session yesterday and what might be a tough session for day 3, okay? Now I'm going to do this strapless today in order to give me a chance to work on my technique. You can follow suit. If you've never rowed strapless before, then I recommend just loosening off the straps rather than taking your feet completely out because I don't want you falling off the back of the machine, okay? But before we get into any of that, we're going to have to do 4 minutes warm up, okay? And we start off by setting up our machine. So go to your drag factor first and set that wherever you want it to be. If you're on a non-concept 2, that's perfectly fine. Just set your resistance or whatever you have. So you get a decent weight out of the machine, but it doesn't feel like you're having to heave it in order to get the flywheel or whatever moving. Next up, set your monitor to eye height if you can. And finally, your foot straps, which I'm going to be in for the warm-up, should be set to a height probably across the balls of your feet. But what it should do is allow you to get to the front of the machine with your shins pointing vertically, okay? Too high, you might not be able to get there. Too low, you're going to go flying straight past it and could hyperextend your back. So, as far as the Ergzone things are concerned, you should see the 4 minutes as the first interval on screen, and that is our warm-up, okay? So we're going to do this at 18 strokes a minute, and your power and pace is just going to be enough of a push from your feet that you can think about the connection between your feet and your hands, all right? And then we're going to increase pace. So here we go then. In 3, 2, 1, go. Now, hopefully this is all going to work from a tech point of view. Looks like it is right now. So I'm going nice and gentle for the time being while I think about this push of my feet and that moment when my hands connect the handle to the flywheel, okay? So I want it to happen at exactly the same time. If I push too soon, my backside scoots out from behind me and I lose leg power. If I pull on the handle too soon, I just can't get that leg power in because I've suddenly changed and bound everything up about me. And you can see my pace dropped right off. But then connect both at the same time and the power should start to flood into the machine. Then once you've got this timing sorted, I want you to start to increase your pace closer to round about 2K plus 20, which for me right now is 2 minutes and 5 seconds. If you don't know what I mean with this whole 2K plus thing, then it's based on rowing a 2 kilometer time trial and dividing the result by 4, and that gives you the average time to row 500 meters in your 2K time trial. So if you did it in 8:20, your average is 2:05. And when I say row at 2K plus 20, that means that you row at 2:25 pace. Okay, 2 strokes. 1 more. And let's put a foot on the ground and continue to row. Now don't worry if your pace drops off when you've only got 1 leg strapped in. That's okay. You've only got 1 leg strapped in. But there's things, you still want to make sure your technique's okay. Don't hyperextend at the front. I mean, like, really roll in because you can. Swap feet. Flick, flick. And this is sometimes interesting to see if there's a difference between one foot and another. I was around about 208 on the last one, 209, 210 now. So maybe my left leg is slightly stronger than my right leg, or it could just be a stroke rate thing, who knows. Okay, last one here, both feet in, legs straight, just row with your back and arms. So swing over your hips with your back, to kind of pick up the handle and then pull in with your arms. So you take the power with your back first, then pull in your arms, then out with your arms, and then rock back over your hips again. This is the key, is to be rocking over your hips, backwards and forwards. Okay, let's roll to the front with straight arms and a forward lean, and just press out. So just press out from the front. Not too hard, because I want you to try and hold this forward lean and straight arms as much as possible. And if you push too hard, you end up kind of having to take the strain of it. Okay, one more stroke, and that is us done on the warm-up, which is fine because it's quite a low intensity row today. So have a quick drink, which I'm about to do. Excuse me, I'll try not to make it too loud for you. And then, yeah, okay, so I have my intervals set so that I can press to continue to the next one. So that's the middle column now. The next one along. You'll see the one that you're supposed to be watching for the next one, and hopefully it'll then all shunt up one column when it comes to the cooldown at the end. Let's see. But anyway, so just to recap, what we're doing today is 30 minutes at 18 strokes per minute, and your pace is going to be 2k plus 20 to 22. Now I'm going to sit probably more on the 22 because I'm going to do the strapless, and I want to not worry too much about how fast I'm going on. I want to think more about my technique, especially because yesterday was quite tough, tomorrow will be quite tough, and actually, right after I finish recording this, I've got quite a tough Zwift race ahead of me, so I don't want to end up too tired for that. So, but you pick your pace between 2k plus 20 to 22, and then try and stick to it for the whole 30 minutes, okay? Right, let's get into this then. 30 minutes, none of this fancy pants, changing rates or anything. We're just going to hold rate and pace the whole way through. I'm going to do the strapless, and like I say, you can do that too, but if you've never done strapless before, just ease your straps off a little bit so that if you need to flick your feet back and hold on to yourself, you can, because I don't want to hear about anyone falling off the machine. So I'm going to get ready to press my button, because we are going in 3, 2, 1, go. Right, so you may be wondering why I have my feet out of the straps. The truth is that rowing strapless is an incredible way to tidy up various gremlins with your technique, or at least with my technique. I won't throw you into this. So it's kind of like if your technique was hair, then sometimes your hair can get a bit tangled, a bit messed up. You've had a tough night out, need a bit of attention to sort out what's going on up there, and then you row with your feet out of the straps for a while, and that's like running a really super comb through your hair. Everything starts to fall into place as if by magic. And the truth is, it's because with your feet out of the straps, you can't get lazy. Because it's really easy to not think about, especially the finish of the stroke, and getting your legs fully down and all that power into the machine. If you just flick your feet up against the straps, you can stop any excess momentum that's going backwards by flicking your feet up. But without your feet in the straps, if you haven't put all of the power into the machine, and you don't stop at the back of the stroke with a braced core and a relatively good posture, then you fall off the back of the machine. So for a start, what it means that my leg drive is full, F-U-L-L, not F-O-O-L. I'm a fool. My leg drive is full. So it means I'm getting my legs down by the end of the stroke. Toes are pointing towards the front of the machine rather than flicking against the straps and pointing up to the ceiling, which isn't good. And also, by your legs being all the way down, you know you've got all of the available power from your legs has gone in to the machine. But it also means that you can get the timing right, that you know that your legs are done. You don't have that extra momentum flying backwards. So your legs finish, and then like a fraction of a second later, we're not talking ages, but a fraction of a second after your legs finish, your back comes in to its backward lean, and then finally your hands come to pull into a finish. And by doing it in that sequence, you know that all of that power and momentum has gone into the machine. Whereas it's really easy to cheat when your feet are in the straps. And it's kind of the, don't want to be too rude about gym goers, but it's one of the more popular techniques that you'll see in a gym, is when people kind of finish early with the legs, slump forwards, bend their knees, and kind of, in fact, I almost fell off the back of the machine. I'm not going to demonstrate what they do, but by kind of finishing with their back first and then raising their knees too early, tugging on the foot straps to pull themselves forwards again, they're all over the place. And I often get asked by people to help with them with their stroke rate, be it that they're unable to row at these low stroke rates, or they're unable to row at the faster, higher stroke rates. And pretty much 9 out of 10 times, it's to do with them having quite poor stroke rhythm. And again, 9 out of 10 times, that's because they're tugging their feet on the foot straps and kind of jerking up and down the machine instead of flowing from phase to phase. And trust me, if you're rowing with your feet out at the straps, you have to have this flow, because either, as I say, you're running the risk of falling off the back of the machine. Or if you don't have the flow to return you back to the front of the machine again, you're kind of beached at the back. If you're so used to flicking your feet to tug yourself to the front when you don't have your straps, how do you get forwards? And so that's all done by flow of your body, shifting your momentum forwards and then backwards and forwards, backwards, forwards, and using your legs and your back and your arms, and then your arms, your back and your legs to get you up and down the machine. And once you learn that, any stroke rate is within your reach. I think the highest rate I've ever managed is 60. That's 1 stroke per second. Admittedly, I think it's probably quite a short slide, so I wasn't recovering the whole way forwards, but because it's all about momentum backwards and forwards, you can actually get your stroke rate up nice and high. Oh, I'll come back to this stuff in a sec, but let's just see where we are. So I'm averaging around about 2k plus 21, kind of bouncing between 20 and 22. To be fair, it's when I concentrate on my stroke that I zip up to plus 20, and then when I'm too busy talking to you, that's when I slip. Right, so that's our first 10 minutes done. Now again, it's a bit late to be saying this, but if you've been using Ergzone, which is what the monitor is, then you'll have seen that this session is just the half-hour main session as far as you're concerned, rather than how I've got it with the warm-up and then main session and cooldown. But the reason for that, well, it's twofold. Number one, it means I don't have to sit here adjusting the laptop in between portions of today's row. But as far as what you're loading up for day 2, because it's just a straight 30-minute row, it means that when you're finished, if you want to, you can go onto the Concept 2 logbook and rank it against other people. Admittedly, I'm not going to figure at 18 strokes a minute that you're going to be setting the world on fire, but still worth ranking it. But bear in mind, as long as nothing goes terribly wrong this month, there are going to be 30 options to do a 30-minute row, of which some of them are going to be freestyle. And usually what I'm going to push you for is that if you have the energy, you do those freestyle rows as time trials. And they're the ones that you will want to rank and see how you fare against other people around the world. Your age, weight, sex, even location. It's a great thing about Concept 2 and the logbook is that actually you can drill your results down into something that you can feel good about. So like my current 500 meter time from a worldwide point of view isn't that great. At 1:31, quite slow. But then when I change it to 40 to 49 age bracket, I'm suddenly doing a bit better. Then change it to lightweight, I'm doing a lot better. And then United Kingdom, and I find I'm kind of around about top 20. So it's good from an ego boost point of view. But remember, comparing yourself to others is about kind of aspiration, not motivation. What I mean is, I can look at some of the 40 to 49 year old lightweight male times for a 2K, and they're just too fast for me. Chances of me being able to get into the 16s, so like 6:12 or something, I think those days have sailed, unless I can stop work and train full time. So I look at those times as a wow, that's amazing and inspiring, but I wouldn't use it as a motivation tool, because the more I realized that I couldn't reach that pace, the less motivating it would be, and in fact the more demotivating it would become, because I'd be like, why bother? So it's good to look at other people so that you know that there is a possibility to go a lot faster than you're currently rowing at. But you need to also be aware of where you are. And just think, today I am this fast. Tomorrow I want to be this +1 fast. So as long as you are better tomorrow than you are today, that's all that matters. And to be honest, if you kept on doing it, pretty soon you would be at that super pacey result. You don't need to think about getting your 2K time a minute faster. It's much easier to think about getting 1 second faster per week. And then if you consistently manage that, within a year, you're almost there. 1 second a week really isn't that much across a 2K. What is a big ask is doing a 2K test every week. So maybe you look for 2 seconds every 2 weeks, or even 4 seconds per month, because that's still only an increase of 1 second per 500 meters. So if you did it at 2 minutes and 15, then 4 weeks later, you only have to row at 2 minutes 14 pace, and your 2K will be 4 seconds faster, 1 second per week. It's simple to look at it that way. These little micro goals. You still want to have a macro goal at the end of it, whether that's just I want to perform better at a competition, or whether it's I want to knock 40 seconds off my 2K time. That's up to you, but set that long-term goal and then chip away at it, rather than trying to chase that goal from the start. All right, let's just row through the last 33 seconds of this 10-minute chunk, and then I'll get back to technique chat. This is often a good time to bring it up in case things have slipped since the start of the row. All right, 2 more strokes and that will be 20 minutes gone. We're doing well. Time is flying. It's always nice, no matter what time you're rowing, when the counter ticks over into single digits, you're like, oh, I'm almost home. And then it's the same with if I'm rowing a distance piece. Once I get to 2K to go, that's when I start to think I'm almost home. But the key is to keep the pace up and not drop off towards the closing stages. And often the pace drops off because your technique has dropped off. So let's spend a few minutes just going over the positions that you should be in. So, front of the machine, right before you take the stroke, is known as the catch. Here. The ideal position is arms straight out in front of you at a neutral height, kind of in line with your sternum really, straight and relaxed, ready to brace against the power from the stroke. But you also want to have a forward tilt of your back over your hips. So forward tilt, forwards with those straight arms, which helps the power come from your legs into your arms, uninterrupted by your back muscles. chin neutral. So you're basically, this is why I say have the monitor at eye height. So you're just looking straight in front of you. Keep your chin level. I don't want to see you looking up at the sky, because what that does is it promotes your back leaning back too soon. So keep your eyes forwards. And then you slide as far forwards as you can until your shins are pointing vertically. No more. If you struggle to do that, it could be flexibility issues, but it could also be your foot stretchers are set too high, or it could be your posture. So you want to be up on your sit bones, nice and powerful, as though you've got something in your back pocket that you don't want to break. And then that's you in the right position. Knees slightly apart. If you're knock kneed together as you come forwards, you can't really get the power out. You wouldn't squat with your knees together. So I can align my knees up with my armpits. I don't put them in because that would have me slumping in order to tuck them up there. We don't want that. But in line with my armpits, right about wide enough for the knees. And it also provides the right amount of compression with that forward tilt and the forward slide, shins are vertical. And finally, you can then push your legs into the foot plates. So think about pushing the machine away from you. Push. Don't think about sending yourself backwards. In fact, just changing my mindset and thinking about pushing the machine away. My pace is just naturally increased. Now you have to hold that forward tilt of your back and the straight arms for at least half of your leg drive. So drive, and then once you're halfway through your leg drive, that's when you swing your back from the forward lean into the backward lean. So drive, swing, legs back, and then right after your backswing starts, that's when you finally pull on the handle. You're not pulling on the handle until the back of the stroke. So straight, pull. Straight, pull. And then try to keep your wrists flat as you pull into a close. And if that means a slight outwards flare of your elbows, then that's fine. I don't really advocate coming all the way out like a chicken, but then neither do I advocate sending the elbows right down and then having bunny hands at the back of the stroke. Nor do I really suggest that you finish really high. Okay, try and finish right about sternum height with the handle. That's enough. And then the handle comes into your chest, and then let your arms just naturally bounce away again. So in, out, same pace, in, out. Then your arms away, trigger that rock back over your hips. And once your hands are past your knees and you're in that forward lean again, all you have to do is bend your knees and you will effortlessly slide to the front of the machine again. Because remember, I'm still not strapped in, so I am not tugging myself forwards with my feet. I'm using the arms away and then rock over my body to shift my weight and momentum onto the front of the seat, so that when I do bend my knees, I'm already rolling forwards anyway, or at least my body weight is already moving. And then you just slide to the front, into the catch, do it all again. Just remember, the power from the stroke comes from your legs. You don't pull until the back of the stroke. Push, pull. Push, pull. 2 more strokes. 1 more. Good job. So how did I average? 205.4, which is 2k plus 20 and a half. So let's see if I pay for that in tonight's Zwift race. That wouldn't be good. Right, compose yourself a sec, have a quick drink. I'll try and move my mic. There we go. And then that wasn't too tough a row, so I don't need to waffle at you for a couple of minutes in order for you to cool down enough to then hit the cool down. So we can just go straight into it. Again, let's just do it as around about 18 strokes a minute, but start, you can still start at 2k plus 20, but then slow down your pace closer to 2k plus 30, 35, gradually slowing down into what I call neutral. Okay? Here we go then, in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Just 2 minutes. And this is just here to flush out your muscles, let your brain kind of disengage with the row. Just find what pace you want. I'm going to aim for around about 2k plus 30, which is 2:15 pace. And I'll just hold this the whole way home. But yeah, cool downs are, I mean, you could argue after a row like today, maybe you don't need a cool down because it wasn't too intense. But my comeback for that is that if you get into the habit of always cooling down, then you won't skip the times that you really need it. I remember doing I think it was just 1 minute row once, absolute full whack. How many meters could I get in a minute? Didn't cool down afterwards, and then completely seized. No idea why. It's only a minute's worth of hard rowing, but I think it was in the bar afterwards and just totally cramped up. Could be that I didn't drink enough or something, but I learned from then how important it is to cool down. Still needing to learn the importance of always stretching. So I can guarantee I won't stretch after this. I'll just go straight into my Zwift race. I'll do a video about stretching. Will Wright got in touch and asked about one, so I really should do one. Show you what I do. Okay, last stroke for me. You can continue to cool down if you wish, or just use this brief moment while I say goodbye to pack up and stretch and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna make this a short goodbye because I've got this race in 25 minutes, so I need to go and get into my lycra. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me for day 2. Do let me know whether the big screen worked for you or not, whether that's a good idea, whether you can see it clearly enough. I mean, I need to do these without post-production, without the normal fancy graphics in order to turn them round quick enough. So it's that or nothing, I'm afraid. So if you don't like it, then I'm sorry. I can make the screen bigger, I suppose, but then you start to lose some of the metrics. So can lose the heart rate, I guess, because do you care whether it was what the percentage was? Probably not. Anyway, thank you so much for doing this one. It's going to be a slightly tougher row for day 3, but you'd expect that after today's one, which was a slight regenerative one. And remember, Sunday morning, 9 o'clock UK time, I'm joining forces with Fitness Matters to do a row on Ergzone app. So keep an eye out on the YouTube community and the Facebook group where I'll post what the code is for that race if you wish to join. Anyone can join. You don't have to be part of RowAlong. You don't have to be part of Fitness Matters. We're just trying to promote it between the two of us to try and get as many people rowing on a Sunday morning as possible. So that'll be fun. So, but that's Sunday. That's going to be day 7. We're still only on day 2. So hang around for day 3. I will post in the morning what the session will be. Yeah, and I hope you enjoyed this one. So make sure and stretch, drink, all that kind of stuff. Stay safe. Be well. Bye-bye.